if you ignore them, they will skewer you. That shows the importance of listening to your audience. For decades, WWE has been the blueprint in content creation, and their new Netflix series, WWE Unreal, proves it. If you're new here, I'm TJ, and we're going to be breaking down what WWE Unreal teaches us the most about content creation. Let's get it. So we start off with an intro from WWE's Chief Content Officer, Paul Triple H Levesque, basically just describing how complex producing a WWE show can be. WWE works 24/7, 365 days a year, which has been their standard for as long as they have existed. And see, here's the thing. Many people tend to underestimate just how complicated and demanding that professional wrestling can be. Now let's talk about Cody Rhodes, who is the current WWE Undisputed Champion as of the time of filming this video. And he is the perfect example of authenticity. In WWE Unreal, there's a quote from Cody Rhodes that says, "I am myself. I play myself." And his role is the babyface. He is the ultimate good guy. He is the current face of the company. And it has been difficult for Cody Rhodes to play the face of the company because nowadays people draw towards the bad guys. In the professional wrestling world, people are in favor of heels, which is bad guys, more so than the good guys. They think that the good guys are too cookie cutter, they're too bland, they're too boring. Whereas the heels, the bad guys, are more interesting to watch. And also, WWE Unreal gives us an inside look into the writer's room as they prepare for the January 6th Netflix premiere. And in the last video, I talked about WWE's $5 billion Netflix deal. You guys can go and check that out if you haven't already. A quote that really stood out to me was from Chief Content Officer Triple H, and it says, "The bigger the star, the more you want to provide scarcity for their star power. And this is all about protecting their stars." They kept the status of WWE Champion Cody Rhodes unknown for the Netflix premiere so that when it happened, the fan reaction was greater. And WWE also takes a long-form approach to their content. They plan out their storylines months in advance. January 6th is the start of a new season for WWE with the Raw Netflix premiere. And they call this the Road to WrestleMania. And that season caps off at WrestleMania, which is the biggest show of the year. And also in WWE Unreal, they touched on John Cena's retirement run. If you know, John Cena is retiring this year. 2025 is his last year as a professional wrestler. He will be acting in Hollywood full time. And another quote that really stood out to me in WWE Unreal was a quote from John Cena, which said, "We can write and choreograph whatever we want back here. You have to be ready for the element that you cannot control, which is the audience." And that was probably the biggest quote of episode 1. And this is really important for all you content creators like myself. This is really important because we have to be willing to listen to our audience and be willing to adapt to what they want to see. And also, you got to be willing to adapt to changes in trends. Like what worked in 2021 may not work in 2025. So you have to keep your foot on the gas. And I know that can be pretty exhausting. And John Cena also said, that shows the importance of listening to your audience. Let's move on to Rhea Ripley, who is one of the top stars in WWE right now. She basically describes her character as herself turned up 10 times. If you're not familiar with Rhea Ripley, her character is very dominant, very aggressive, very chaotic, scary, yet attractive. And she said that it's the sides of her that she would get arrested for in real life. And she admits that she does have moments where she gets nervous right before her matches, before she walks through that curtain. And once her music hits, Rhea Ripley comes out. And she's ready to raise hell. And this WWE Unreal also touched on the Rhea, Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio love triangle, which was one of the biggest storylines of this past year and a half. Rhea had to surrender her Women's World Championship because she got injured. And injuries can also affect how storylines play out. When a wrestler gets hurt, the creative team has to work around that. They have to find a workaround to them being off because they have to take off. If the wrestler is injured, they have to take time off to recover from their injury, which can delay the storyline. And also, Rhea Ripley was going over her match against Liv Morgan on the January 6th Netflix premiere with fellow WWE superstar Damian Priest. And they were basically talking about how Rhea wanted to do all of these cool, elaborate spots in the match, and Damian was kind of like, hey, less is more. Less is more. You don't need to do a bunch of complicated things, just as long as the story is presentable. Now we move on to CM Punk, who is one of the most popular and most controversial characters in the WWE. And CM Punk's character, he's all punk rock, he's straight edge, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do drugs. He has that straight edge punk rock lifestyle. That's who CM Punk really is. He's very brash, he's very outspoken, he doesn't mind letting you know how he feels. And CM Punk has talked about his frustrations with Triple H for not main eventing WrestleMania in his initial WWE run, which was from 2006 to 2014. And during this time, Triple H's role would shift from a full-time wrestler to management, so he had more say-so. In this episode, there was a callback to CM Punk's infamous 2011 pipe bomb promo, which is one of the most talked about promos of all time. People still talk about that promo to this day. And that was Phil Brooks, CM Punk's real name. That was Phil Brooks speaking through CM Punk. And that was when the line between fiction and reality was blurred. The best storylines always had that element of reality in them. Right? CM Punk has recently came back. He talked about how he walked out, and he came back at Survivor Series 2023, and also his history with Seth Rollins. That was one of the top storylines heading into the Netflix premiere. And this is an ongoing storyline currently because they cannot stand each other. There is a deep, long-term storyline going on between them. Now let's touch base on the gorilla position. Now what the gorilla position is, it's basically the main hub where the content is produced. It is the area that talent goes through right before they get to the ring. And it's basically the production studio where the show is ran. You have Triple H, who is the chief content officer. You have Bruce Pritchard, the executive producer. You have a timekeeper. You have a match producer who produces the matches and who is basically the liaison between talent and creative. And the producers are often former wrestlers. And communication and timing are vital to the success of the show because the producers have to communicate with the referees, who then communicate with the wrestlers as the match is going on. And also, each match and segment has strict time constraints. However, with your content, there is no such thing as time constraints. You can do long form or short form content. And the gorilla position is a dedicated space for producing the WWE content. So I want to ask you, let me know in the comments, what is your gorilla position? All right, so to wrap this thing up, the key insights is to be authentic. We learned that from Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. Have a long form approach to your content. We learned that from the creative team and planning ahead, listening and adapting to what your audience wants. Also, less is more, and having a dedicated space for producing your content like the gorilla position. WWE Unreal isn't just behind the scenes drama. It is a masterclass in building content that lasts. If you're ready to take these lessons and actually apply them to your brand, that is what I help creators do. Hit that subscribe button and check out the previous episodes where I break down WWE's branding strategies. And if no one else told you, you matter. You were put on this earth to be great.